Hi guys, and welcome to another tutorial for Blender. In this series we're going to be building this sci-fi type helmet, and then later on maybe I'll do a tutorial series also on texturing this, but for now we're just going to cover some basic modeling. Now this isn't a incredibly detailed model. I'm just going to give you kind of the outline as to how to create this type of thing, and you can go through and add more detail yourself later and make it more realistic, but this would be a good kind of starting point if you've never done this type of modeling before. We cover a lot of different modeling techniques, and it'll give you the tools and knowledge to be able to go on to more complex projects. So this is basically what we're going to be aiming to make, and then later on we could animate things like the visor so it comes up and down, and we can add glow effects to these laser beams coming out the eyes, or whatever these features are. But this is basically the model that we're going to be making, and then we're going to retopologize it so that it's a smoother, kind of easier mesh. You can see at the moment our polygon count is very high and quite a complex kind of mesh that we've got going on here. It's not going to be very easy to texture, so we'll retopologize it later. So let's dive in first of all though with the modeling. So let's start up a new Blender project. Oops, there we go. And we'll get rid of our light and camera to another layer, so M, and we will hide our grid floor because we don't need that. But we'll keep our basic square, which we're going to scale up. And then we're going to apply a modifier to it, which will be our, sorry, click the wrong one there, subdivision surface, subsurf modifier. So we're going to maybe make a count of three subdivisions. That should be enough. We'll hit apply, then we'll go to our right side view. We're going to jump into sculpt mode. We'll get our grab brush, make it as big as we can. And what we're going to do now is basically shape a approximate head. So this is approximately from the side on what a human head looks like. Now we're not doing head modeling here, so it doesn't need to be precise, but this is basically it. You kind of have a circular shape here and a circular shape kind of coming down here. So it's almost like two eggs. So this would be the chin area, and this is the back of the head or the cranium. So let's just check that's good, so that's fine. And now what I'm going to do is go back into object mode, hit Shift D to make a duplicate, hit H to hide that duplicate, so we have our base model. And then I'll show you our reference images, the kind of thing that I'm basing this on. This is where the idea came from. So this is our head shape that we're going to use to begin to form the main structure of our helmet. So we'll head over into edit mode. So we've got our faces here. We'll go to face select. Now what I want to do is deselect the faces that we want to keep. So we've got this kind of skull cap, which would be a loop around here, I guess. I think we want to keep it as a loop. So basically we're going to go around and select, or deselect, sorry, our loop there. Okay, so that's probably about right. So now I'll hold down B, Shift, and let's also then deselect everything inside of there. Also on this side. Okay, so there's our skull cap area. Now let's do the side, which is going to come down something like this, and then come around the front of the face, around the mouth area. Now when we do our first pass basically in our modeling. What we want to do is just basically block out the major structures and shapes that we're going to be using. We go in and refine these later, so all I'm concerned about right now is getting our basic shape of our helmet into place. So I'm happy with that so far. So now what I'll do is delete the faces that we do not want. And there is our basic helmet. The beginnings of it anyway. So what we want to do then, I think, is I'm going to make a duplicate of this. So Shift D, H to hide. And there's our basic helmet there now. So if we were to go and reveal our original cube, can't see it quite yet because there's in two different colors, but that's basically our head and our helmet, which goes over the top of it here. Okay, so one thing that I didn't do, this helmet's a little bit wide, a little bit rounded, I think. I should have, with my original face, I think, made it narrower a little bit. I think the face is a little bit wide. So we'll just jump back into our original cube here. Let's go to a front view. Yeah, I think that's a bit wide. So the faces should be a little bit narrower than this. So we'll go back into sculpt mode and we're just gonna move the head in a little bit and the chin here also. Okay, I think that's better. Right, so then we'll just repeat what we just did. So just bear with me a moment. I'm going to delete this cube and I'll delete this cube. So I want to make a copy of this. So we've got our original head. Jump back over here into edit mode, and again we just go around and deselect those faces. So let's see if I can speed this up a little bit. Okay. So just to select more than one thing, we just hold down, we just press B, and that puts us into like a multiple select mode. So then we can go around and select additional ones. Now we'll just select those again. Okay, so there's our cap. Let's grab these around the front of our face again. Okay, yeah, I think this is better. The front of the face is just a little bit narrower. A head is not really perfectly rounded, as you can see when we do this. Okay, right, so again we delete our old faces, and I'm going to make a duplicate of that just in case we want it again later. So I'm just going to keep my project organized. So let's label this head, and this is our helmet. Okay. So with our helmet now, what I want to do is add some thickness to this. So we'll go across again into edit mode, and we'll select all our faces. We're going to hit E to extrude, but we're not going to actually move it anywhere. We don't want to extrude it out like this. It looks horrible. So just hit escape. I'll hit enter, S to scale, and then we're going to scale this helmet up a little bit. And you'll see now what that does is basically adds some thickness to our helmet. So now it's got some actual body to it, some volume to it. We're not dealing now with just a flat piece. And that also gives us this lip around here that we can work with also later. Now what I want to do is add in an edge loop cut. So I'm going to go to our loop and cut, and I want that to go around the inside of here, so around our inside lip here, and I'm going to put that close to the front edge, and you'll see why later. These are what's going to be known as holding edges or holding geometry, and it's going to keep our edge sharp. So wherever we want a 90-degree edge, we want to add in these loop cuts around that edge that we want to keep hard. Now in this hard surface modeling, it's very important to do this to keep our hard edges. Otherwise, when we smooth the mesh later, we're going to lose those hard edges, and it won't look the kind of machined effect that we are actually wanting to achieve. So also add loop cut here at the top as well. Okay, so all those edges that we want to keep hard have got loop cuts on them. I'm not so bothered about keeping this edge hard here. That can maybe be rounded. It's going to be kind of hidden anyway in our final sculpture, but we do want to keep this back edge here hard, so we'll add a loop cut in there. Okay, so I think I'm good with that. Right, so there's our loop cuts are done. So the holding geometry is now there to keep our hard edges. Now what I do want to do though is add a little bit of a bevel to this. So we'll grab our loop cut again. We'll do it in the center. We go to S for scale, and we'll scale this in the Z axis, which adds our bevel. Now I want to move that, so I'll hit G, and I want to move it in the Y axis, so we'll hit Y, so I can move that forwards a little bit, and then I can keep this also as a hard edge. We add in our holding geometry again, so loop cut, another loop cut here, and I think we're pretty much good with that now. Okay, so there's our basic helmet. We've added in our edge loops to keep our hard edges. I think I just want to add one more. We need to add hard edges in here as well. So this corner and also this corner we will also want to keep as hard edges. Okay. Right. So now if I go over to my modifiers and we choose to add a subdivision surface modifier, we'll head back over into our object mode. We'll choose to shade it smooth, and you'll see here now, but our loop cuts where we've got our hard edges are extending all the way up and around there where I don't want them. So if we come back over into our edit mode, what we want to do is remove the loop cuts or the hard edges where we don't want them. So that basically is going to be this edge here, because it's upsetting our smoothing. It's adding almost a pinch type effect. So I'm only going to do it to half the helmet because we can actually mirror this later. So we'll just select that half there, and then we'll hit X to delete those edges. Now what that's going to do though is it's going to leave us with a hole, but that's okay because we can select our vertices. We'll grab all of these vertexes here. and we hit F. That should fill that in with a face. Hold on. Let's do them one at a time here. I think I missed this. So come along there and we hit F, then we get a face. And then again. Now you see though, what we've still got is these vertexes here. So actually, I'll show you an easy way of doing this. Let's go back to where we had our what we can do is actually just select this vertex and this vertex, hit Alt M and merge them together. So that's actually, we're not then removing the faces. So we don't have to recreate that geometry again. So we'll just go around and do that to all of the edges that we don't need to keep sharp, that we want to keep as let's try and avoid making triangles, so we try and keep our square edges there. Okay, now we'll just select these and we need to recreate our faces here. Again, we just go around and select them. And we're still going to have to go and merge those vertexes. You see we have these kind of redundant vertexes left, which are going to cause us some trouble later. Okay, so then we'll do the same thing here. Then we want to merge these vertices. Alt M. And this should help us then to get rid of that kind of sharp edge. If we go back to our object mode, you'll see there it's got rid of the sharp edge around the top of the head, which we didn't want, that line which is there. So it'll just gets rid of that for us. So we also want, we want to make sure that we remove all these redundant vertices. Okay, and then we want to do the same now here where we have this junction. We want to avoid creating five-sided or triangles, so we have to sort out this geometry here. As you can see, it's making the corner a little bit of a mess. You see, if we turn it into a triangle, you end up with a very sharp corner there. and we have to jack up the number of subdivisions to smooth that out, which increases our polygon count by quite a lot, and we don't really want to make the mesh so complex. So it's better if we can sort these issues out. I'm going to grab my knife tool. I'm going to add an additional subdivision there. I'm going to merge those together. I want to get rid of the hard edge here. You'll see now we've pretty much sorted out this corner here. Now we don't have the triangles anymore. Just want to do the same over here. Oops, I merged an additional one from a corner there that we don't want. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Just maybe on this corner needs a little bit more work also. So we've just got this sharp edge here that we want to try and get rid of. So let's remove this edge, and then we'll recreate this face. Okay, there we go. Right, so there's our smoothed off basic base helmet. You see we got the nice sharp edges here where we put this lip in earlier. So we want this lip here because our visor is going to come down and maybe engage into that. Might put some locking device on it or something. So there's our base helmet, and now if we reveal our head, you can see there's the head there inside it. And it fits perfectly to our head. Now in part 2 we're going to continue adding on to this, and we're going to start to put the visor in and the other major elements and large shapes. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to head over to my blog where you can download the project files for this. You can download the Blender projects and follow along. And feel free to leave any comments, ask any questions, and if you found this video useful, please hit the like button.